friends! My name is Antoinette Chanel and welcome back to my channel. In a world where wealth and power often shield the guilty, one woman stood up and told the truth. Her name is Virginia Giuffre. Virginia's story shook the foundations of the elite, exposing a global sex trafficking ring, bringing attention to one of the most notorious predators in recent history, and forcing a prince to answer for his alleged crimes. I want to tell the story of how Virginia survived exploitation and turned her voice into a weapon for justice. Virginia Louise Roberts was born on August 9th, 1983 in Sacramento, California, though she grew up in West Palm Beach, Florida. Her home life is said to have been chaotic and troubled. Her father worked as a maintenance man at Mar-a-Lago. This is the Palm Beach estate that is owned by Donald Trump. Virginia's mother, she has said, was emotionally distant and not available for her. All of this instability at home led Virginia down a bad path when she was young. By the time she was a teenager, she was already experiencing deep trauma. She ran away from home, lived on the streets, and spent time in foster care. She later revealed that she had been sexually abused by a family friend when she was just 7 years old. That abuse would mark the beginning of a long and painful journey. At age 16, Virginia was working at the spa located at Mar-a-Lago, and this would change her life forever. While working at Mar-a-Lago in the year 2000, Virginia is said to have met Ghislaine Maxwell, who was a British socialite and very, very close friend of Jeffrey Epstein. Ghislaine Maxwell approached Virginia Giuffre with what seemed like an incredible opportunity to be paid in cash for giving massages to a wealthy man. This wealthy man was Jeffrey Epstein. Virginia accepted this offer because she needed the money, but the massages quickly turned into something much more sinister. The start of Virginia giving massages to Jeffrey Epstein was the beginning of a very long cycle of exploitation, abuse, trafficking that she would suffer at the hands of both he and Ghislaine Maxwell. She was flown across the country and internationally, often cycling between his New York residence, his ranch in New Mexico, and his private island in the Caribbean. Virginia Giuffre has also explained that during this time she was forced to perform sexual acts for wealthy men. Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell were said to have been controlling all of this. Among the very powerful and wealthy men that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein were forcing Virginia Giuffre to engage with sexually was one Prince Andrew, the Duke of York and son of Queen Elizabeth II. According to Virginia, she met Prince Andrew in 2001 when she was just 17 years old, and she says that she was trafficked 3 times to come and see him. The first time was in London at Ghislaine Maxwell's house, the second time was at Epstein's New York mansion, and the third time was on Epstein's private island. A now infamous photo reportedly taken at Ghislaine Maxwell's residence shows Prince Andrew with a very young Virginia Giuffre and Ghislaine Maxwell in the background of that photo. According to Virginia, this was the night of her and Prince Andrew's first encounter. Prince Andrew has consistently denied all of these allegations, claiming that he has no recollection of ever meeting Virginia Giuffre. And those of you who are royal fans, who are here because of my royal content, I covered this a little bit in part 2 of the video that I did breaking down Courtiers by Valentine Lowe. Said courtiers just now. Courtiers is what I meant to say. There's an O in there. But in that video, I also talk about the fact that Prince Andrew's denial of these allegations went so far as to culminate in an interview that he did for some Australian publication in 2019. That interview was so bad and awful that it gave Virginia Giuffre and her lawyers the fuel that they needed to successfully sue him. In July 2019, Jeffrey Epstein was arrested on federal charges of sex trafficking minors in Florida and New York. For Virginia and other survivors, it seemed that justice might finally be within reach. But just 1 month later, in August of 2019, Epstein was found dead in his jail cell. The official ruling for Jeffrey Epstein's cause of death was ruled a suicide, though lots of speculation and controversy surround that case. His death left many survivors feeling robbed of their day in court, of being able to face this person who had done so much to destroy their lives. But Virginia refused to be silenced and vowed to keep fighting. In August of 2021, Virginia Giuffre filed a civil lawsuit against Prince Andrew in New York. This lawsuit accused him of sexually abusing her when she was 17. Virginia's legal team argued that Prince Andrew had tried to exploit Virginia, knowing that she was being trafficked by Jeffrey Epstein. And Prince Andrew's legal team went about trying to have this lawsuit dismissed. They made the argument that there had been a previous settlement paid to Virginia in 2009 from Jeffrey Epstein, and that was supposed to buy silence from her forever and ever and ever. So why was she speaking up now? However, in January of 2022, a federal judge rejected this request for dismissal, allowing the lawsuit to continue. Rather than face a trial, Prince Andrew decided to settle out of court on February 15th, 2022. It was reported that the settlement amount was $12 million, but the actual amount has not been confirmed or officially disclosed. As part of the settlement, Prince Andrew didn't admit to any guilt, but he did acknowledge that Virginia had been a victim of sexual abuse. At that time, he also promised to make a sizable donation to her charity that she was supposed to be setting up for other survivors of sexual abuse and sex trafficking. And Virginia considered this to be a victory, not because she got paid, but because she felt like her story was finally being believed. Prince Andrew was said to be devastated by the PR fallout from the lawsuit from Virginia Giuffre, and just once again his name being attached to Jeffrey Epstein in the media again. The Telegraph reported in 2023 that Prince Andrew was once again seeking to have the basis of Virginia's lawsuit overturned and stricken from the record. Many believe that this was Andrew's attempt at trying to get back into royal duties. He wanted to be more visible and prominent within royal life, even though his brother has communicated very clearly for at least a couple of decades now that he wants to see a slimmed down version of the monarchy, which is a large part of why Andrew was asked to step back in the first place. Andrew is said to have also been seeking a public apology from Virginia Giuffre. And one comment that was included in the Telegraph about Andrew states, "This isn't about the money. He wants a route back to some sort of normality after a deeply trying period. I can tell you with confidence that Prince Andrew's team is now considering legal options." In a jailhouse interview conducted either in late 2023 or early 2024, I had a hard time confirming, Ghislaine Maxwell claimed the infamous photo of she, Giuffre, and Prince Andrew was a fake. Maxwell also appeared to show little remorse for Epstein's victims and offered no apology in interviews after her arrest. Instead, she said that victims should take their disappointment and upset out on the authorities who allowed the billionaire pedophile to die in prison. Maxwell also told Talk TV that she believed that Jeffrey Epstein was murdered, which is a conspiracy theory that she didn't seem to have any evidence for at the time that she said it. I found reports that Virginia was working on a memoir detailing her life and her time with Jeffrey Epstein before she died. She had already written one unpublished manuscript titled The Billionaire's Playboy Club, which was first made public in 2017. And then in late 2023, Virginia appeared to taunt dozens of associates and ex-employees whose names would be dredged up in a trove of court documents to be unsealed in the coming weeks. The quote that she wrote on X said, "There's going to be a lot of nervous people over Christmas and New Year's, 170 to be exact. Who's on the naughty list?" It's unclear exactly what transpired in Virginia's life through 2024 to make things so difficult for her. But it sounds like she came into 2025 coming off of a lot of pain, heartache, and difficulty. But in March 2025, she posted a picture of herself looking bruised and battered and claimed that she had been in a car accident where she collided with a school bus and that she only had 4 days to live. Virginia claimed that the school bus was going 110 kilometers per hour, which translates to about 68 miles per hour for those of you here in the United States like me. A few weeks after Virginia had posted about this car accident, we got reports that she had died by suicide at her Australia home. Red flags have been raised by her lawyers as well as spectators like myself who are surprised to find that she would meet her end this way, especially because she tweeted a few years ago that she was not suicidal and that any reports that she had died by suicide were to be investigated thoroughly. I am also very curious how a woman who came on a 12 million pound settlement, which I don't have the translation there for what that is in US dollars, but it's a lot of money. I am curious as to how a woman who came up on a settlement like that, who was living a very quiet life in the countryside in Australia, from what I've learned, why she would be compelled to commit suicide all of a sudden. It all just seems suspicious. Per Virginia's Instagram account, she loved her babies very much. And as recently as December 2023, she also seemed to be professing her love for her husband. I've since learned that at the time of her death, Virginia and her husband were in the process of a divorce and that they were also locked in a bitter custody battle over their 3 children. I'm someone who's married and I can attest to the fact that marriage is complicated, but I mean, it seems a little far-fetched to think that her and Robert would have deteriorated so much during the year 2024. Of course, they've been together for, I think I read it was a total of 22 years. So they've probably had their ups and downs several times through that period. But it all just wasn't coming off as a plausible story to me. It seemed way too sudden and it seemed way too odd that this woman who has been so consistent over at least the last 8 years in the public eye about what was done to her and who did it, now all of a sudden it seems like her marriage and her entire personal life were unraveling before our very eyes, and she wasn't old and senile. She was only 41, I believe, was her age when she died. So it's all raising a lot of red flags for me and making me feel very suspicious. And ultimately, it just makes me sad because she was a mom. She was also someone's daughter. I think she was probably also somebody's sibling. She was a neighbor, she was a friend, she was a fighter, and she's gone now. And it's very unfortunate because it feels like in her death, the bad guys are somehow winning, even though technically I don't think that's true, but it feels that way because her voice was so prominent and loud and consistent. And when she had that photographic evidence that she had indeed met Prince Andrew and engaged with him the way that she told people, I was just so excited because it seemed like finally we have hard evidence and maybe now some criminals are going to get taken down for real for doing things that are illegal and disgusting and abusive. For all of her fire and tenacity, it just doesn't seem like the type of end that a woman like that would find. But that's just my opinion. Okay, friends, that's all I've got on this topic, but thank you so much for being here. If you liked the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. That helps me a lot in the algorithm. You can also leave me some comments down there below. I always love getting comments from you all, so thank you. If you'd like to keep up with me on social media, you can follow me at the Instagram handle that's on your screen right now. And if you want to see more videos from me, consider hitting the subscribe button so that you can be notified as soon as I upload new content. Thank you so much, my friends. I hope you're having a great day. Take care, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.